Hey everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and today I have a pretty cool product to take a look at. It's already October, and people are already talking about Christmas and the end of the year holidays and all of that. And what I have here is a bird feeder from a company called Netvue. I don't know if you've seen any of their products in the past, but they have a lot of these smart bird feeders, right? So as you can see here, there is a camera kind of in the center of the bird feeder, and this gives you lots of opportunities to record, to stream, to view birds that might be in your backyard or around your house or wherever you live. And this offers a cool way to attract those birds and also then get some video and pictures of them. So this is really cool. I've done a lot of other videos on the channel of tech gadgets and things like that. And what I haven't really done too much of is bird watching. Now I do have in my backyard, kind of on my deck, I've got a bird feeder there, and I watch birds all the time when I'm in my kitchen and all of that. And we attract quite a few different types of birds in my area. We have cardinals, blue jays, all kinds of sparrows, various other starlings and things like that that are common in the state that I live in. So what's cool is this also has AI recognition in it. So basically as it's recording the birds, it will be able to tell via AI what kind of birds those are. All right. And it identifies supposedly up to 6,000 species of birds, and you can keep track of them and all that. So that's really cool, because often I'm sure there's birds that are swooping in and getting some seed out of my feeders that I don't see at the time, and then I don't know that they even came. So really interested to see how well this works. Like I said, this is a Christmas package, limited edition on the Netvue website. I will link to this and the prices for these. I think that the AI version is around $230, $40, something like that. There's a light version that's a little bit less expensive. But what's cool is this is limited edition, and you get some extra stuff, right? So you don't get just the bird feeder, but you get some Christmas stuff. And who doesn't like Christmas stuff? So there is a feeder manual here and guide on how you set this up, and a bunch of other stuff. So there's some tacket here. Not quite sure what the tacket is for, but it's part of this whole thing. You get a Happy New Year card, 2024. So I guess the idea is, if you have somebody in your family, you have a friend, somebody that loves bird watching, this would be a good Christmas gift, right? It's got some extra stuff and Christmas theme to it, all that. So I also get a calendar for 2024, and it has a bunch of different kind of basically graphics here, birds, that kind of stuff. And this is kind of cool because it is a stand, and you could put it on your desk. So basically a little desk calendar, which is nice. It's got the Netvue logo there. So here's a template for mounting the mounting bracket if you're going to drill holes and mount that on something wood or somewhere around your property. So they give you that. I will take the rest of this out. Oh, actually I did get the one with the ornaments. So there's all these little ornaments in here. Now you can put these around the feeder and have, little Christmas themed stuff going on there. So that's kind of cool. It's got a Santa Claus, looks like an elf, a sled. Got that. So you have quite a bit of stuff. So you have this silicone holder, and I think what this is for the solar panel. So this version, this AI version, limited edition Christmas one, does come with a solar panel. So you can mount this using a couple different brackets, or I guess what you can do is also use this. You screw this in here, and then you could wrap this around something if you want to mount the solar panel that way, not permanently, just kind of somehow mount it, right? So this is kind of like a flexible metal thing that you can arrange however you'd like. And yeah, so let's take a look first at the solar panel. So this is a solar panel, plugs into the back via USB-C. This whole thing is battery powered. So instead of having to charge the batteries, but if you don't want to be charging the batteries all the time, you can get the solar panel, plug it in, and then it will kind of keep things topped up. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, a bunch of different ways to mount this, it looks like. But that is the solar panel. Now you do get some other things. You get some mounting bolts, you get some drywall anchors if you're going to mount it on like some sort of wall like that. USB-C charging adapter. This is the metal mount. So this is pretty heavy duty. This is I can't bend it. And the idea is that on the bottom of the feeder, this kind of slides in, locks in place, and then there's a little bit of flexibility in how to turn it, right? It has some, if I could do it, some ability to turn side to side, however you want to mount that. And then you can basically unmount it and then just push on this little tab and you can pull it out. So that's one way to mount it. There are other ways to mount it as well. There is this adapter here that also goes on the bottom, which then you can put in a tripod. It looks like it's like a tripod adapter. This is some foam tape that you're supposed to wrap around a pole. So if you're going to mount this to a pole using these included pipe clamps, you can put this around the pole, use the pipe clamp to clamp down, and you're not damaging the pole by kind of using this. And then these pipe clamps then would like hook through here so you can mount it on the pole. So it's also a tree strap, right? So you can put the tree strap through these holes here, wrap it around the tree, ratchet it down that way. So again, you have all kinds of different options. Now this is the little roof of the thing, so that kind of clamps on the top. Obviously, this is the device itself. So you can see the charge port here, it's covered with a little rubber silicone. And the back of this also has a silicone cover. Obviously, you have your Wi-Fi antenna. And you have the camera on the front here, which you can adjust kind of down a little bit. And obviously, you can connect with the phone and position all of those. But then basically, you just dump the feed in here, and it comes down into this bottom piece. And then there's an included screw somewhere in there that allows you then to latch on the little perch. So the idea is, birds land here, they feed out of this, and then the camera takes pictures of them. Yeah, so basically that's how it works, right? So it hooks into two little tabs on the top, and then you can flip it forward to fill the feeder, and then you flip it back, and then it kind of locks on this little latch back there, and it keeps it from flipping, but then it's easily, moved with your finger there. Just grab it and move it. So yeah, so that's basically what the bird feeder looks like. I mean, it's not too big, so it's a nice size. It doesn't look very intimidating, which is what you'd want from a bird's perspective. You don't want the bird to be intimidated by this. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and set this up outside, and then I'll videotape and show you where I set it up, show you how I mounted it, talk about that process of mounting it, charging it, mounting it, getting the solar panel set up, and then we'll kind of let it sit outside for some time, collect some footage. Well, one thing I mentioned, this does have a cloud service available from Netvue, but then there's also on-device storage. So you can store pictures and video on the device using an SD card. Now, obviously this supports live video, so you can watch live video of birds as they're feeding. Has motion detection, so you don't have to be watching live. The motion sensor will trigger it. There's two-way audio in case you want to tell a squirrel, like, hey, get away from there. Because in my yard, squirrels love birdseed. It is IP65 waterproof, has full color night vision. So that's another thing I forgot to mention. It's a 1.5 liter seed bin, has a 155 degree field of view, and like I said, SD and cloud storage. Now the one other thing I forgot to mention is it does come with this, which if you mount it on a pole, you can basically put this around the base of the pole and snap it on there and, you know, have it underneath. And this will act as like what they're calling a squirrel shield. So a squirrel won't be able to climb up the pole basically and steal any of the seed if you put this little barrier underneath it. So we'll have to see how this works. It's just a plastic with these snaps, so you can kind of put it underneath there. So that's it for this portion of the video. Just want to do this unboxing, quickly talk about the camera, talk about the device, just show you what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and set this up and we'll jump on over to that. So the first location that I went to set this up in my backyard just to test it out is I have some poles that are attached to my deck because I use some string lights outside. So I figured just for a temporary first location to test it, I would use the pipe fitting there just around the pole and set up the Birdfy in that location. So that's what I basically did here, as you'll see in a second. I just used this temporary mount for the solar panel, kind of connected it up. It looks ugly, but I was just, you know, testing it out, and then set up the feeder this way. So you'll see in a little bit why this was a bad idea and why I should not have put it somewhere easily accessible by other animals than birds. But all in all, it did work in this location, and I'll show a little bit of footage of that as well. And then I ultimately moved it to the other part of my yard and used a dedicated post with a squirrel baffle on it to keep the other animals away. But in this video here, you'll see it, and this is where the little ornaments are from the Christmas edition, which are kind of cool. But anyways, this is how I set it up, and I'll show some video of this and why I had to actually move it to a different part of my yard. And you'll see that this little guy was very persistent in just eating all of the bird seed that I put in here. I used the siren a couple times. He didn't care. He just came back, easily just jumped on and was eating it. So the squirrel was one problem with this location. And then at nighttime, raccoons were a problem. So I had this raccoon came and he devoured the whole container over the course of like a few hours, just coming here and just eating all the seeds. So ultimately I did move it to, like I said, a separate post with a squirrel baffle and all of that. And you'll see that it's only birds now that can get access to this. You see the squirrel there in the background on the fence. He's still lurking around trying to figure out how to get to this, but the way that I set it up was able to keep him away. So I'll just let these play. A couple different birds. I've got a lot of sparrows in my yard, so variety of different types of sparrows. They're doing most of the feeding here. And then I did have red-winged blackbird, a male and a female, and I think that's it. I have blue jays in my yard and I have cardinals in my yard, but they just haven't yet they haven't tried to land on this and take any seed out. So I don't know if they're afraid or it's just that the sparrows are constantly occupying it and they don't want to jump in. But this is a red-winged blackbird female, I believe, and then the male makes an appearance as well. And he's not scared to sit with all the sparrows and eat. And as you can see, I was trying different seed combinations of sunflower seeds and then some of these little mango pieces that I actually have cockatiels. My son has cockatiels and they eat some of those kind of little dried fruits. So I put those out there also to see if I could attract any different types of birds. But really the sparrows just picked them up and threw them out on the ground for the most part. So as you can see, this is a really cool device, and overall I had a blast kind of playing with this and checking it out and seeing the different types of birds in my yard. Now, one thing, I might have to move it to a different location, maybe my front yard, to see if I can attract some different birds. There must be a bunch of sparrows that kind of just live in my backyard on the one side, and they're just constantly swarming this thing, maybe scaring off some of the other birds. So I'll have to experiment with that in the future and just see how that, how the placement works for attracting different birds, because I have seen quite a few different ones in my front yard than in the backyard. So that's that. And the AI image recognition, it does work really pretty well. As you can see, I put the little bit of a screenshot here. How it works is it does the recording and then it sends you a notification, and you can see it highlights what it thinks the birds are in the pictures. Now sometimes this is wrong. The same bird might move a little weird and it gets classified as something else, but generally it's pretty accurate, I think, from what I've seen. And it did obviously recognize these sparrows, it recognized the red-winged blackbird, and the things that I've seen there. So overall, I think the AI detection works pretty good. I'm sure that's something that will be improved over time as Netvue trains their models for bird recognition. So I can only imagine that it will get better and more accurate. But if you want to take a look at this, go ahead and I'll link to this in the description of the video. And you might want to check it out. Again, the Christmas edition is out right now. If you have a bird lover, somebody that really likes to watch birds in your family, or someone you need to buy a gift for, I highly recommend that you take a look at this. I think it would make a great Christmas gift. And honestly, it's a lot of fun if you like watching birds. Go ahead and post any comments or questions below, and I'll be sure to answer those. This is Andrew from T is for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.